Hey guys, so this is gonna be opening 015, the 15th opening, and this is actually the Crayfish opening. So, as you can probably tell by now, some of the openings are actually being named after animals, and some of the openings are being named by famous players who have played it. I personally prefer to name it. I think most of the Westerners usually actually name the openings after famous people who play it, which is logical. Um, and of course, for the Japanese players, they like to try to associate certain variations to animals based on the shape of the discs. So yeah, so that's how it is, and this is the Crayfish opening. Let's take a look at the sequence. F5, D6, C3, D3, and then over here, instead of playing the usual book opening to C4, you actually play a C5 move for variation. So again, this is quite similar to shrimp. Shrimp would actually be C6, but over here for crayfish, you actually go for a C5. It's definitely an early variation, so you have a high probability of playing this. The advantage is probably counterintuitive for white in terms of the follow-up. Probably not the direct move follow-up, which is F4, but rather the consequent moves that you can actually play for. So the disadvantage here is definitely you give up an early disadvantage of up to four discs, and I think it's usually relatively difficult to overturn the lead if your opponent actually understands that variation and is able to play out the sequence, the correct sequence. And I think the mid game is relatively counterintuitive for black to actually play it. So unless you know the opening really well, it's quite difficult to play this opening. So I would actually recommend that advanced players should be playing this opening. Probably advanced players and above. And I think even for online play, I don't really actually see this opening being played that often. I think there are one or two players who actually play it. I think the sequence that they play is probably expecting an F4 in response, and then followed by him playing an F3, more like a feed, and probably penetrate into the center to occupy the central um, position. So it does get a bit more counterintuitive for white. So you definitely have to do quite a loud penetration in order to try to get that disc in E4, and then just go for another quiet follow up to C6 perhaps. So yep, I'll leave it to you as usual to figure out whether this particular crayfish opening is useful for you and whether you want to specialize in it. So I'll see you in the next opening video.